section while Maddie goes and gets her notes. Welcome back. We have been slacking on the podcast, but that's all right. We're back today. We're going to talk about some fun stuff, some drama, a little bit of sports, the usual. Maddie's taking forever, and I kind of ran out of stuff to say already. So
Okay.
We have some special guests here today. This is Jack.
This is Valentina.
And she has a twin named Valentine. He slays.
Yeah, they're fraternal twins.
Oh my god. She's been obsessed with fraternal twins since, like, a little bit before we got those.
This is false advertising.
What do you mean?
I think they changed the design of their frogs.
Yeah, this one's head's bigger.
This we got in
2022.
This is 2024. So this is 2025, I mean. This is a 2-year difference between the frogs.
This one got a big old head. This one got a little head.
And the eyes are more apart from the head than this one. This one's like more into it. This one looks like more Kermit the Frog. This one looks more like a cartoon.
This one kind of also could be interpreted as a hippo, in my opinion, whereas this one is very frog.
Yeah.
This is like a hippo frog.
Yeah. So, Valentina.
And I got a cat with little hearts on it, and her name is Juliet.
Today, we are talking mainly about the one and only Blake Lively and Tristan Baldoni case. With a little other things, sprinkled here and there. So we want to do a little catch-up first, as we usually do. We started school. We finished our first week last week. We're in the middle of our second week. My teacher is sick, so haven't had to have 3 classes, which is really nice for me, and not nice for my teacher, but nice for me.
My classes have just been boring. Lots of reading. Like, I don't think I've ever read this much in my life. And I've had to put my pleasure reading on a pause because I have no time for it.
Yeah, I'm unsure if I'm going to be able to finish The Hunger Games. I reminded my mom today, though, about the books that I want for my birthday. And she said, good reminder.
I was actually going to ask her if she was going to do that, because if she didn't, I was going to.
I have no idea if she's going to. But I want it bad. They have, like, the specialty, like, covered, like, fancy covered books of The Hunger Games. And something about me is I hate the way that The Hunger Games covers look like normally. So whenever I saw that they were going to be a thing, I was very ecstatic because they're very pretty. But what's annoying, though, is that they're coming out with a new book and it's not going to be part of that set. So I'm going to have pretty and then ugly, because that cover is fugly.
It is so fugly. And I get the point, though, of, like, what it's supposed to be, because I'm confident that it's supposed to look like a crown, but it's just hideous.
It does not. It's just not
and
good.
My favorite color is purple, and the cover is purple, and I still hate it. So, and what is unfortunate is when they came out with Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, I got the original cover because that was the only one they had, and then they came out with a new, like, beautiful cover for the movie, and then thankfully Maddie got it for me for Christmas that year. But
maybe they'll come out with a pretty cover for this movie. Yeah, so that I won't have to buy the fugly one. I hate that one so much.
What'll probably happen is I'll buy the fugly one to read it, and then I will, like, sell it or give it to a thrift store or something.
Mm-hmm.
So TikTok was banned
for, like, what,
12 to 15 hours or something. I was crashing out like a tweaker.
It was really sad in the moment. Like, we knew, obviously everyone knew that it was going to be banned. And then it was like 10 p.m., getting close to like 11.
I think it was like 10:30.
Yeah.
And
then I go on TikTok because I'm like, maybe I should be spending the last couple hours I have with TikTok on TikTok, because I was just, like, refusing it to be true and not. I was, like, barely on TikTok the entire day. And then we were like, maybe we should be on TikTok for the last couple of hours, and then it stopped working.
No, at first, at like 10:30, we got a pop-up that was like, hey, TikTok's gonna be banned soon, like, we're working on the problem, whatever. And then 5 minutes tops later, we go back into the app, and it's like, hey, guess what? TikTok's banned. And it's like 11:35, 11:40 maybe. And we're like, okay, we're supposed to get another hour and a half. That's kind of rude, but all right.
It was just gone for a bit, and then it just
And
popped
then the
back up.
next day, it was like, it started like working like in like waves. Like I got it to work before she got it to work. And like when it first started working for me, like the videos were all really grainy and had like you could barely like see them, and the comments were like really like limited, and you barely could see the likes on anything. And then progressively it got better.
For me, it didn't work really at all for a while until it just randomly started working. But now everything's just back to normal. I still occasionally see like videos of people talking about the band. Like it's like old videos about the band. Like now the TikTok's getting banned, I'm gonna do this or that the next thing. There's a lot of TikTokers that were like telling their secrets. And a couple of them gotten some trouble.
The one that had me really dead was the girl who did the Let Them Eat Cake. She got canceled. Like, it was like so tone deaf of her. And then she was like, when I took a photo to make the TikTok recommended that sound. So I thought that it would be a good idea to do it. And she's like, I didn't even choose the sound. TikTok chose it for me.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of people just don't like that girl for a multitude of reasons, but that was definitely one of them.
I don't know anything about her other than the Let Them Eat Cake thing.
I really don't know anything about her either. Whenever I see her on my TikTok, I typically see her really like cringy stuff, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Another pop culture update. Jake Shane is going back on tour, and he's not coming back to Buffalo. He kind of hated us, even though I laughed. I was with him. I stood with him. But yeah, so he's not coming anywhere near here, so I can't go. And no, I want to die.
Really unfortunate, yeah.
I kind of knew that was going to happen as soon as, like, I experienced the way that the crowd was here. I was like, he's not going to come back to Buffalo, and he probably won't come anywhere near it if he does go back on tour. And now he has an album, so he's going to probably perform his album, and I'm going to have to miss out on that. And one of my friends got tickets, so now I want to die even more.
Yeah, besides that, nothing really else has happened besides, like, a bunch of political stuff. But, this is a safe space. We're not going to be talking about how Selena Gomez got bashed for crying about people getting deported. Like,
I actually saw this really tone deaf like tweet that was like a picture, like an AI generated photo of Selena Gomez, and she was like eating hot dogs or something, and it was like Donald Trump behind her telling her to eat more hot dogs, and then he won't deport any more Mexicans. It was like really messed up.
I'll let your abuela stay?
I didn't even realize it said that.
That's crazy. There's a lot of bad stuff that's happening right now in like the political worlds. Many things that are happening right now are really intense.
So it's a little too depressing, honestly, and to protect our mental health.
And your mental health.
Yeah, we'll hold space for our emotions elsewhere. You're really holding space. Like, what does that even mean? In other news, the playoffs of the NFL have finished, and the Super Bowl is now official. Chiefs versus Eagles, which is exactly what I wanted. So I'm winning, and my Bills fans friends are crashing out, and I'm kind of scared to go to work tomorrow because they hate me there. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about football,
wanted to let you know that
my teams both made it.
Got on. We'll see who wins. I do
actually want to bring up that people keep thinking that the Chiefs cheated and that it's rigged, like the refs are rigged against them. If anyone did watch the game, why were they letting Xavier Worthy straight book it down the field? He was literally hauling ass down the field, and nobody was stopping him, and he did that multiple times. Like, if you want to blame anything, blame the Bills' defense, because even Bills fans will say that their defense sucks. So instead of blaming the refs, blame your defense.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing really you can do about it unless they find critical evidence that they cheated for anything to change. It's just the way it is, and you just have to deal with it.
And like, even if the NFL is scripted the way that WWE is scripted, like at that point, like all you can do is stop watching it. But people are not going to stop watching it because they love football so much.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to switch to college football? Probably not.
My family has always watched both. It's like if like a lot of football people or just people that watch football watch it so passively that it's just like me and my family, like my dad and his brother and stuff are really into football. Did they ever play football themselves? Not really. No. My grandpa did, but besides that, like they don't really have a hardcore like team that they root for besides like the freaking Huskers. It's college football team. But besides that, they just watch it for fun. And I feel like that's just kind of what people should do because, I mean, we're giving these football players all this money. I mean, not we necessarily, but we are at the same time. We're letting them keep a job by watching the games because if no one was interested, then they wouldn't get paid.
I think it's funny too. I didn't know my grandma liked football like that. Like I knew she was like a Cowboys fan, but I thought it was just like she was a Cowboys fan because my grandpa was a Cowboys fan. But she's actually into it, and I guess she's rooting for the Eagles. So, slay, grandma. Me and my Eagles sweater.
Yeah, we were watching the Bills and Chiefs game, and my grandparents texted me asking me like who I was rooting for, and they were for the Bills and whatever. It was interesting that both our grandparents reached out to us
at like the same time too.
Not a typical thing, at least for me. Like my grandparents reach out to me every now and then, but like about football, like
my grandma reaches out to me every now and again too, and it's more like I had a dream about you. I was thinking about you, like that type of stuff. Like
yeah, like to check up on you, really.
Yeah, but she never reached out to me about football before, so that was interesting.
Football has been a very large topic of our life recently.
We rooted for the Chiefs, if you couldn't tell. Maddie kind of was forced to root for the Chiefs, but
yeah, I mean, I root for whoever the people I'm around are rooting for. You know, if heaven was for the Bills, I would be rooting for the Bills. If whatever my family's rooting for in the moment, that's what I'm rooting for. I really don't care. Whenever I was younger, this is like really recent. This change is recent. I would just root for whatever color I liked.
I remember you actually did that for the first Chiefs Super Bowl because you rooted for the Eagles because you liked the green color that they have.
Yeah. I literally do not care who wins. I just am watching it.
And what's funny is I rooted for the Chiefs because I like red.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay, going based on your logic, I'm going to go against you because I like red.
Yeah. I'm so unbothered. Like, I can't really say, like, oh yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan, or, like, when we've talked about the Bills a bit, in the last episode that we were in together, I don't like Bills fans, but I would probably say the same thing, like, if we lived in Kansas City, I would probably hate Chiefs fans, or...
If we lived in Philly, we'd hate Eagles fans.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like the intensity of the, fandoms, especially for sports, but I really don't care.
Think it's interesting, like, now becoming a football fan, whereas before I kind of had like an outside and now I have the inside like scoop on it. Like, I think it's interesting that people are so intense about it and the way that they are, and then those same people will call girls insane for like being the same way about a celebrity. Like, even like me now, like I still like football. Now that I like football and I like enjoy watching, and I have a team that I root for and what have you, like I'm still not gonna, cut off my friend or be mean to my friend because my team won and their team didn't, or their team beat mine. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like I'm not gonna be in the same breath. I wouldn't be mean to my friend who is, if she's a Beyonce fan, like I hate Beyonce, but I'm not gonna be mean to her about it. But football fans, men specifically, football fans are like that. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I think it's silly whenever like sports fans or make fun of like celebrity fandoms. Like, obviously the one that everyone's brain goes to is Swifties. Because I think that fandoms are the same for everything. Like, fandom for sports teams are like the same type of energy as a fandom for like Swifties. Even like you just being a hardcore fan, like being a part of a fandom can be for like anything. Like, we've talked about it before, like hardcore Trumpies, like I would consider that a fandom. People that are obsessed with Elon Musk, that's a fandom, and they're like really intense. like, I'm not saying the Swifties are not like necessarily bad. Most fandoms are not bad necessarily. They're just really intense, and I think it's funny that they make fun of each other because you're the exact same way, just a different font. You know,
and I think it's interesting taking it from someone who doesn't really engage with like fandoms heavily. Like you see that perspective, whereas like I'm on the internal perspective where it's like I don't I try not to make fun of other people who love stuff, but sometimes it's just like you're in a cult. Like, sorry, I hate to tell you, you're in a cult. But like
Yeah.
I could see how somebody could say that the way that I like Taylor Swift is cultish. I get it.
Yeah, they're all the same. Just like different intensities and different ways to go about it, but they're all the same at the end of the day.
Speaking of fans, then let's talk about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
If you don't know, there was a movie adaptation of the Colleen Hoover book It Ends With Us. And really from even before it came out, there was drama about this movie. It was like little things, and it's obviously escalated into something really big. If you know about it, we're gonna dig into it a little bit. Talk about our opinions on, it's kind of like two sides at this point.
You will get a little dive into like each side per se because one of us leans towards one of them and one of them leans towards another.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us really like pick a side per se, but one of us is more inclined to lean one way versus the other.
I have my notes per usual. So kind of just giving a little bit of background on like the beginning drama. Colleen Hoover, it's all, like I said, it's based off of a book, and there's a fandom behind it. There's the group of people that read the book before and are excited for this movie to come out and have a movie adaptation
I'm speaking.
of a book that they love. And I remember seeing like clips about people judging it before it even came out because of, well, one, the casting. Apparently the book, I mean, you read it, didn't you? The book surrounds around a 23-year-old just graduated college girl that is trying to figure out her way in life, beginning to own her own business, things like that. And they casted Blake Lively, and she's obviously not 23-year-old. She's like in her mid to late 40s. She's a mom. She's a mature woman. People are like, this is not our, what's her name? The character?
Lily.
This is not our Lily. What are these people thinking? On top of the casting, there was, behind the scenes, like paparazzi photos of the outfits, and people were bashing these outfits. Apparently the character is supposed to be a little bit quirky, kind of like granola,
like low-key like cottagecore lesbian almost. like very like, I like to be outside, I like to be with flowers. She owns a flower shop, that's her business. Like, so she's very like dainty type of person.
Yeah, I mean, she's the type of character where she stands out. Like her wardrobe is not normal, but it's not ugly. Like she has a cute aesthetic. At least that's the vibes that I got while reading all these comments bashing how they went about the wardrobe choices. And then whenever the movie actually came out, the first little bit of drama that occurred with the actors was, so there's Justin Baldoni. He plays one of the love interests in the story, and the actor asked about Blake Lively's weight because apparently he has a back problem and needed to know how much she weighed so that he can, prepare for, because he was going to lift her. It was part of the script. He was going to lift her, and he wanted to know her weight. She took that offensively, and there was like a little bit of discourse talking about that. That was just kind of like the toe into the water, little dip into the drama that was going to occur. There was also a lot, whenever the movie was just coming out, mixed emotions, mixed feelings on the advertising of the movie. And I remember talking about this with you whenever it first came out, because I wasn't interested in seeing the movie at all, but because of everyone being like, it's kind of false advertising, they didn't really talk about the fact that it is a, what do they call it?
It's the way they advertised it was like a rom-com.
But it's not.
It's not a rom-com at all. It's a reflection of intimate partner violence and how someone in an intimate partner violent relationship, like being abused, like how they can like excuse the abuse and not realize that it is abuse. And like the author has said that it was based on her mother, right? It was her mother's domestic violence experience. And so the way that it was marketed was not portraying that, and a lot of people were startled by that when they went to go see the movie.
Yeah, they felt like bamboozled because of the way that they were advertising it, and like all the promotional interviews and stuff was kind of, you know, saying like, wear your florals, go out with your girls and enjoy this movie. It's acting as if it is a rom-com whenever it was a pretty serious topic. At least there was funny parts in it, and, you know, romantic parts or whatever.
The dialogue was so awkward, it made it kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, yeah. And, like, he, like, asked her a question that, like, wasn't a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
Like, specifically, the rooftop scene. I feel like I remember it being really awkward.
Yeah, I feel like I need to rewatch it again to, like, kind of...
It's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix. To get, like, a better idea, like, knowing what I know now, looking into it and, like, you know, coming up with a different opinion than I was whenever I first watched it. But yeah, the dialogue's weird. A lot of the movie is strange. Like, we enjoyed it, but at the same time, it was a little off. A bit after, you know, the movie came out, it settled. Blake came out with a sexual harassment claim against Justin Baldoni, who is the director and the main love interest that ends up being the abuser person. She has there was apparently a couple different claims about the sexual harassment, sexual, you know, abuse. There's different things that they talked about specifically.
Like, she said that there was a specific subset of things, and there was like a few of them that she considered to be what the sexual harassment that she was suing him for.
Mm-hmm. And he clapped back pretty much and is now countersuing her and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, for $400 million for defamation, pretty much. He's claiming that she and her husband pretty much bullied him and, you know, called him out for being this person that he's not really, or so he claims. So right now on social media, there's all this receipts coming out on both sides, you know, claiming one thing, going against another thing, all this stuff. There's a couple specific things that have been brought up, and actual, like, tangible receipts that all these people that's been being released and a lot of people have opinions on. One of them was how she said that he would just walk in, like, at the time she had just given birth, so she was like breastfeeding and stuff like that. She claimed that Justin Baldoni would just walk into her trailer while she's breastfeeding to talk to her without permission. Like, it was like, you know, invasion of privacy while her, you know, breast is out while she's breastfeeding. He clapped back. It was like, actually, here's our text message. She invited me to come into the trailer, telling me that she was breastfeeding. Another thing was there was apparently this slow dance scene where you can't hear them speak. They're just kind of, they weren't supposed to talk, apparently, in the script. They weren't supposed to talk. But she claimed that he said that they should start talking for it to be more romantic. And then he started to, like, kiss her, nuzzle her neck, do kind of like inappropriate things as himself, not as the character, which made her feel uncomfortable. But then he actually released the video with the audio because apparently they were mic'd or had a mic around them to where you could hear them. She was actually the one to either suggest or agree to talk, saying that she thinks that it's more romantic if we see them talking and not know what they're saying. And then she said that he kissed her neck and then sniffed her, like inhaled her, and said, "It smells good," which sounds icky. But in the video, he does go down and he kind of like, I don't know if he actually kisses her neck, but it makes it look like he's kissing her neck. And then as she's talking about how he's probably gonna get spray tan on him, and then as she's saying that, he's at her neck, and then comes up and says, "It smells good," and she's like, "Oh no, that's probably just my makeup. It's that smell." So like, there's been a lot of instances where she says it's this one way, and then he's like, "Actually, it was this way." There was another thing about like an intimacy coordinator, where, you know, on sets whenever there's romantic scenes, there should be an intimacy coordinator to like make sure that's like professional, give ways to go about it without being too invasive. And there's footage of Blake like teaching Justin how to like hold her in a certain way, which would be considered an intimate scene. She like pulls him in and is like showing him how to do it, whatever. Which didn't really seem to be that big of a deal until she said that there wasn't an intimacy coordinator on scenes where there needed to be an intimacy coordinator, and it made her uncomfortable because he would do all this stuff, whatever. And then there was also an interview where she was like, "Oh yeah, no, there definitely needs to be an intimacy coordinator. There shouldn't be any sort of interaction amongst actors where there is intimacy without the coordinator there." And in on the spot, even Colleen Hoover was like, "Well, actually, I saw you do it without an intimacy coordinator." And she's like, "Oh."
Actually, she was like, "Where'd you see that?
Where'd you see that?" Everywhere. Everyone saw that.
I saw that too when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it when I first saw it.
Like, I really don't think it would have been that big of a deal. Like, I don't think that he was uncomfortable with that. I don't think that she ultimately was uncomfortable. I mean, she was the one that was doing it. There's also this whole element of the scene, the rooftop scene, where Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively's husband, and Blake rewrote the scene, pitched it to Baldoni, who is the director. There's a whole lot of drama and text messages over that. Pretty much, I think, based off of the text, like from what I remember of the text messages, because they are released, they are in the public now. Blake asks Baldoni if she has like, "I have some ideas for this scene. Would you be interested in, or are you okay with seeing the script, like the new written script, whatever?" And he's like, "Oh, I mean, I really like the way it is now, but yeah, I'll give it a look. You know, it will go from there." And then it's like either a day passed or something. There was something that happened where as he's reading, like he has the script, he's reading over it. There's some sort of confrontation of some sort that includes Ryan and Taylor Swift. And this is where Taylor Swift gets brought into the freaking conversation. If you don't know, Taylor and Blake are friends.
They're best friends, like, to the point where Blake and Ryan's daughter is in the intro of one of her songs on Reputation, which, if you don't know, came out in 2017. Like, they've been friends for years. They go to football games together. Not recently, but they were going to football games together last season. Like, all sorts of stuff. They're seen out to dinner. Like,
yeah, I'm sure this situation is unfortunate for them because Taylor did get dragged into this drama, and I'm sure it doesn't look good for like Taylor. So I'm sure she's like standing back. And, you know, and whenever bad things like this happen, like if, you know, Blake Lively is telling the truth and she was sexually harassed, you want to lean on your friends. But being as famous as they are, it's kind of hard to
be able to be a good friend and also protect
your own image.
the public sphere aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where like if it was just like me and you were having an issue with some guy that you worked with and he harassed you, you could lean on me and I wouldn't have any like conflict of interest.
Yeah, because it doesn't reflect on you.
I would, but because I work with you, but you know.
Yeah, but allegedly Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds was telling Justin Baldoni that Blake Lively is a good scriptwriter and this is a great opportunity for her and he really should go with this thing. It's kind of like a threat to some degree. So allegedly that's how it seemed. And then he texts Blake and is like, "Hey, yeah, I really liked your scene. I think that it will benefit the show. I think it will make it the movie. I think it will make it better. You didn't have to throw them at me. Like we could have talked about it one-on-one." And then Blake sent like a long message talking about how she, as a woman, unfortunately, this is the truth, a lot of women don't look like, they're kind of looked down upon whenever it comes to most jobs in the movie
especially
industry.
In the film industry, because of, you know, we both took a women in film class, and very rarely do female directors and writers and, you know, producers get this like spotlight and get to have opportunities. So that was the angle she was going.
Yeah,
with.
she was talking about her own experiences and how like she's just kind of used as like arm candy to some degree. Like she's just there to make the film look better, not necessarily like she wants to be more a part of it. She's talked about it on other occasions where she wants to be more of a producer and be more interactive with the movie. So she kind of just went on this whole spiel about that, kind of over explaining, I guess, on top of also adding a whole excerpt on how her friends, which if you look at the text messages, the names are redacted, so we don't actually know who she's talking about. We all assume that it's Ryan, her husband, and Taylor Swift, because of other evidence that has come out, saying that, you know, they're really strong people, really influential people, and pretty much she called them her dragons, as if she was Khaleesi from Game of Thrones.
Not pretty much. That is what she said. She was like, I'm like Khaleesi, and those are my dragons. Like, these gorgeous monsters of mine are gonna like protect me or whatever. Like, yeah. It was really strange.
It's just weird.
The way that she was talking was really strange, and it gave me like I'm drunk texting you right now vibes.
Yeah, that specific like conversation. He also afterwards sent her a like 6-minute long, like this just came out recently, a 6-minute long voice note apologizing about, you know, making it seem a certain way, and, you know, kind of like saying that he feels for her and he's sorry that he made her uncomfortable or whatever it was.
Well, bringing up the voice note, there was one thing that I didn't like that he brought up.
The boob thing?
Yep.
Yeah. That's another thing that I was going to bring up is I think that both of these people, just them in general, are kind of strange people. If you look at past interviews and interactions with Blake Lively, and whenever it comes to like her style and things like that, she's weird. She's a weirdo, okay? I'm a weirdo.
Can I ask you about your baby bump?
Yeah, like, she's weird. And then I've also seen accounts on where people are talking about Justin Baldoni and how he's kind of like a hippie. People think that he's like a fake feminist. And based off of other, like, I don't know, I can't think of exactly what, but I've seen other things about this certain case where I think he just says some weird things sometimes that make people a little bit uncomfortable. And I also think that I would not be surprised at all if Blake would say stuff like, there's a baby on my boob, you know, to where he's like repeating that. Like, I feel like that's kind of like their banter, because who just says that, you know?
But also he gives me weird vibes. Like, have known him a little bit from Jane the Virgin. Like, I didn't watch it, but I was always, like, I had the experience of, like, seeing him talk about it and seeing people talk about him on it and whatever, and I've seen some of his, like, podcast stuff, and I don't know, I've always gotten the weird, like, he's a little bit strange, and I feel like he's the kind of guy that doesn't really know what boundaries with women kind of look like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would definitely be the guy that would, like, put his hand on your waist when he's trying to get through and thinking that that's, like, normal and, like, that you should be doing that.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that he's just probably a little weird. So, yeah, the boob thing, too, he says something like, there's probably, your kids are all like, he was closing his statement, saying, all your kids are probably on you, you probably have a baby on your boob. It's just like, okay. I mean, at the same time, it is a personal conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just supposed to be them two. There was no one else in the conversation. So, like, you have to, like, give a little bit of leeway. I don't think he would ever say that in, like, a public thing. And I'm sure he's probably just, like, you know, punching his pillow after, like, releasing it to the public. At the end, like, most of, like, people are, like, the discourse with the voice note specifically is people deciding whether or not he's flirting with her, because there's this whole kind of, like, conspiracy type thing that they, like each other, or they liked each other, but they're both married. I've seen a lot of things where people are like, Blake liked him and he just saw her in a professional way, and that's why Ryan Reynolds is so, like, gung-ho on being annoying. Like, he was apparently on the set all of the time, giving his 2 cents, you know, in every which way possible. I wouldn't be surprised if he sensed a little something. Like, I don't know, like, Blake, she's an actress, but is she an actress? You know?
What if they were, like, hooking up? Like,
I don't know if they were hooking up, but, like, there might have been tension.
Like, no, this is just, like, a conspiracy just for me to say it. Like, what if they were hooking up and then their partners were sensing, you know, this vibe or whatever, and that's why Ryan was tweaking out and whatever, and that's why Blake was like, he was sexually harassing me, so that way it would seem more like it was, like, Justin being creepy?
No, but that's why I think that Blake liked him as, like, well, no, like, this was like, it seemed that way because I was uncomfortable because he was doing this to me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like Ryan is kind of like his weapon.
Sorry, y'all, if the quality gets worse because we had to switch to my phone because Maddie's died. You were talking about how Ryan's weapon is his words.
Yeah, like, he's a comedian. So, like, and I feel like he's just the type of person, like, okay, there's a whole other thing where people speculate, you know, Deadpool came out around the time that, or at the same time as It Ends With Us. And there's this character in Deadpool called Nice Pool. And a lot of people think that that is supposed to be Justin Baldoni and him making fun of him, which, I mean, I think it's pretty accurate. Like, he talks, like, the guy's like, I'm a feminist and people call me nice guy, and talking about Lady Pool specifically, which is Blake Lively. Like, that's nice her Pool's character.
Wife. Or girlfriend.
I think it's girlfriend. Or
they just had a kid.
I don't think they're together. I think he was just talking about her. Have you seen Lady Pool? She just had a kid, but you won't be able to tell. She's all, like, the weight just, like, I would not be surprised if Justin Baldoni talked about that. Like, commented on how she looks so good, the weight just fell right off. You know, based off of the other things that we've seen about him in his, like, weird commentary. And then there's also another part at the very end, like where the bad guy's, like, all up in his face. He's like, where's the intimacy coordinator?
I didn't even catch that when we watched it. Now that you say that, I do remember, but that went right over my head at the time.
Yeah, because, well, we didn't know the drama until we know now. So he was definitely making fun of Justin Baldoni in his movie. So I think I would not be surprised if Blake maybe just had like a little crush on him. I don't think that there was any infidelity going on. That would be a whole other thing. And also, like during the time where they're like slow dancing, they were both talking about their partners. And Justin Baldoni talks about his wife all of the time. Like, I think he really likes his wife.
Do you think that he might have liked, or at least been a little bit attracted to Blake, though?
Potentially. I mean, she's a pretty person.
Maybe it was like they kind of had like you were saying, like a little bit of attraction to each other, but since they're both married, they both kind of like had different tensions towards each other because like, you know, they're attracted to each other, but they can't really do anything about it.
I really,
and I wonder if that's what it was. Like maybe Ryan was picking up on Justin's attraction to Blake, and you know, as a guy that's like threatening when a guy like you know has feelings for your girl, whatever. He's like, so that's why he was making fun of him in Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's kind of funny, like you can't take comedy like so personally because of the way that comedy is. It's like it's supposed to be a little offensive, so like you can't take it so personally.
Yeah, no, I think that the Deadpool thing is like you can't prove
that it was about you unless he wrote on the script, this is about Justin Baldoni, like, and why would he do that?
Yeah, I think for Justin Baldoni, suing them for $400 million
for bullying
is excessive. I think it's excessive. Do I think that he has a right to push back because they were really attacking him as a person? I do think so. $400 million, though. Like, I know that they have money, but, like, they also have kids. You know, like, I think that that's a little extra. I think he could have gone for the Taylor Swift suing thing, like, sue them for $1 to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
If he was really just trying to prove a point.
But he's definitely in it a little bit for the money.
Yeah.
One thing I always found strange, though, was Blake released the texts between him and his manager. And the manager said that to, like, get these sexual assault claims or harassment claims, like, pushed off of him, demean Blake's character, bring Taylor Swift into it, all of this type of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor had, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the confrontation with Taylor was more like, Taylor, don't you like my script? Like, don't you think that he should use my script? And Taylor was kind of like, yeah, I loved your script. And then he was like, that's bullying.
Well, I think
she's powerful. She's going to sue me. She's going to whatever. So he kind of took it more personal than it was.
I think for that specific thing with the Taylor Swift and stuff, it was more, I don't think that they were bullying him, like, on the spot. I think it was more like, I'm in a situation, I don't know how to get out of it. Like, it more like a, kind of like threatening. They're not threatening him. They never threatened him. But it feels threatening to have these, they're powerful people. You know who Ryan Reynolds is. You know who Taylor Swift is. I had no idea who Justin Baldoni was before this movie happened. So, like, it could be daunting to have these people pressuring you, pretty much. Like, they could be nice about it. I'm sure Taylor Swift didn't even know what was going on. It was just like, yeah, she's a brilliant writer. She directed one of my,
oh, yeah, because she did direct All Too Well 10-minute version.
Yeah, she directed one of my,
she directed my short film. Blake Lively directed I Bet You Think About Me, and she directed All Too Well short film.
She did it all too well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, she's been helping me, she's been working with me, and she's a great, whatever. I'm sure that it was more like that, and then a little bit of, like, spice from Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
But if anything, you know, that's a little pressure. Like, I can understand Justin being like, you know, you could have just talked to me. Like, you don't need to have these people, like, he could, like, obviously he could tell what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're having these people tell me that you're so good, although I can see it myself, you know.
I think a lot of it too kind of stems from the fact that he was kind of being a pushover, you know, because he was always like, I liked the script. He was always like, I'm gonna let you have creative direction in this way. I'm gonna let you do this. The thing with We didn't mention it yet, but his parents him and his family being in the basement for whatever press event it was. Like, those are all moments where he could have, as an adult and a grown man, been like, no, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the basement thing, like, there was the premiere for the show, I always call it a show, the movie, and Justin Baldoni and his friends and family were sent down to the basement to watch it until it was their turn to go walk the carpet thing. I would like to see some accounts on his family, like the ones that,
were
there. If, like, how the situation actually was. I've seen things about Blake saying that she wouldn't come if he didn't go into the basement because she felt uncomfortable with him. I think that a lot of this with him and her and a lot of their interactions, like, they're trying to be polite with each other, at least with the text messages, but they don't really like each other that much. So it's like, I don't really know what to do. I'm like, I feel this one way about it, but I don't want to be rude, and if I do this other thing, like, if I say, no, I'm not going to have you and Ryan Reynolds' script be a part of the thing, like, how are people going to take that? People are not going to like that. So, of course, he's going to be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Also, he did say, like, he himself said, apparently there's, like, a behind the scenes footage of him saying that a lot of people took part in, like, rewriting the script and stuff, and it wasn't just them. Like, they took a really big part in it, but it wasn't just them. I think that at the end of the day, if Blake Lively did not come out and say the sexual harassment stuff, he would have let it be. I don't think that he would have ignited it himself.
I agree. I think that they're both being a little, like, they're both over embellishing it a little bit, and part of me feels like maybe Justin's got a project coming, and I know Blake is supposed to have. It's rumored she's supposed to have A Simple Favor 2.
It's not. I looked it up. It's not rumored. It's actually happening. It's coming out this year. Simple Favor 2 is coming out. She just recently posted, since all this has happened, or appeared in a post with the actor from A Simple Favor 2. So she's gonna come. They're both gonna come back into the light. Like, they've been kind of like a little bit of a hiatus, like, trying to, like, not post and stuff because of everything that's happening, besides stuff for the trial, which apparently there is going to be a trial. There's a trial set for March 2026. We'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're both just over embellishing it to get, like, the PR for whatever upcoming projects they might have, because Blake is having A Simple Favor 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if Justin has some projects coming up, or will be having a project coming up at some point. I also think that there's a good chance that they're just going to settle it, and, like, they're just going to settle it out, and then they're never going to take it to trial, because I just feel like that's way too much of a hassle for something like that. Part of me wants to say that, like, I think that maybe Blake is being a little dramatic about the sexual harassment, but also in the same breath, if he is making comments that are making her uncomfortable, like, maybe she shouldn't sue him, but she definitely should have, like, taken, like, I think she had the right to take action if he really was saying these things that are making her uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't want to completely discredit her, because you don't want to completely tear down someone for making claims like that, because at the end of the day, you don't know how she felt in those moments. Like, she could be putting up a face and being like, yeah, it was totally fine, but just like the movie, like, obviously it wasn't as intense as the movie, but and at the moment you don't know what's really going on until you reflect and be like, actually,
that was weird.
That was not okay.
And a lot of girls in the moment, they hear, like, a comment and they don't really think anything of it, and then they're thinking of it later and they're like, oh, that was actually sexual harassment. Like, that's kind of fucked up.
That made me uncomfortable.
Or maybe, like, she was like, yeah, I had this encounter with Justin today, and then Ryan was like, well, that's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it could have been any sort of, like, retrospect kind of thing happening where in the moment she was fine with it, and then she reflected on it and was like, that's actually strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all messy. But I did see someone, I think it was Candace Owens. Apparently she's been doing a whole lot of stuff about this. But she said something like, she thinks that she was getting a bunch of bad, stuff about the outfits and certain little things here and there before all this came out, before she claimed sexual harassment, and thought that Justin Baldoni was behind all the bad PR or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she was like, well, he made me uncomfortable in this, so I'm going to say it, but didn't actually think about actually making it go to trial until he pushed back. It was like, well, actually, now I have to go through with this. I hope for both of their sakes. I don't think that Justin Baldoni needs $400 million. I'm going to say it. I don't think anyone needs that much money. So
what even is Blake Lively's net worth, to be honest? Because, like, does she even have $400 million?
I think he's doing it to both of them. Like, it together is that much money.
Do they even have $400 million? Like, that's debatable. Like, and also on top of that, like, they're going to have to pay the $400 million, like, let's say hypothetically he wins, the $400 million to him plus the legal fees that they had to pay to go to trial. Like, you're wiping a family. They have, 4 kids? Like, you're wiping them of a lot of money when they have to take care of multiple kids. Like, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I hope that it kind of just fizzles out and they come to an agreement and they never talk to each other again. I hope that is how it ends up being.
And I am excited for A Simple Favor too, because I loved the first one, and yeah.
I will say about the outfits, they are really bad.
Oh yeah, they are really bad. They are really bad. Her hair looks horrible.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because she was promoting
her own hair
care thing that came out at the same time as well, which was also kind of like a self-promotion. Instead of talking about, abuse victims, she was talking about her hair or Deadpool. So, I mean, is she a little bit morally gray? I would say so.
Yeah,
she's very self-absorbed.
I'm definitely not like, I love Blake, I ride for Blake. Do I think she's hot? Of course. But, like, I just am more, I guess, inclined to lean towards, someone, like, I have a hard time, like, not believing someone when they say that they've been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted or whatever, so that's, like, making it hard for me to be like, well, she's lying. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like there's at least a bare minimum truth to it.
Yeah, but something funny about the outfits is apparently, before, as things were happening, there was the whole writer's strike thing. They started doing stuff before, and then the writer's strike happened, so they had to put a pause on it, and then afterwards, there was like heat that was happening within the whatever. Justin said that at first, like, he apparently really wanted to go along with the book, because it was important to him to really reflect the the abuse topic. She was really focused on the clothing, and they had a whole different set of clothing for her. They had a different look for her, and she was like, no. And they eventually gave up fighting with her and just let her do whatever she wanted with the outfits.
Which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, like, which is sad, because whenever I love her Met Gala looks, like, I'm obsessed with every single dress that most of the dresses that she's had. I'm like, how can you have fashion like that? And then I've also just seen her, like, everyday outfits that she wears out in like paparazzi type photos. What are you wearing? Like, what? Do you think that's cool? It's not cool. It's also unrealistic whenever it comes to the book, because she's supposed to be late 20s. How are you going to be owning all that really expensive ass clothing?
Like red bottoms? Please be serious.
Make it make sense.
Also, like, it's a little confusing to me that, like, why wouldn't you want to follow the book? You know what I mean? Because as someone who is very big on, like, accurate book-to-movie adaptations, a lot of fans who are into, like, accurate casting get really, really, really upset by that. Except for when it comes to Haymitch, apparently, but whatever. People are trying to cast a 30-year-old man
I hope that that's not the case.
To play a 16-year-old boy. Like, like, Jennifer Lawrence was 18 or 20 or something when she played Katniss. Like, she was barely older than Katniss. So, like, it's just, like, strange that they were straying so far from the book with the accurate casting and then the outfits, too. Like, if you're gonna cast somebody who isn't gonna play, like, the right age, like, at least, like, dress right, Blake. Like, come on, girl.
Yeah, Colleen Hoover said that she didn't really care about them changing the age. But obviously, like I said, even before all this drama happened with like, you know, them personally, people were not excited about the movie because they changed so much from the book. And you know how people are. You gotta go by the book. Come on.
And also, they took out, like, a really important part of the book is, like, I don't think that she should have been journaling to Ellen. Like, in the movie, I'm glad that they didn't do that. But her connection to, like, Nemo / Ellen, like, I think that that's important to highlight, as at least in her teenage years, because they, like, don't really address it other than she has a Finding Nemo poster in her room. But that's really important to her relationship with the other love interest, Atlas. And I think that them leaving that out was kind of unfortunate, and it kind of left out some of, like, the important aspects of, you know, their relationship and loving each other and, you know, her, like, formative years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're going to see how this goes. The new stuff is coming out every day, pretty much, whenever it comes to this case. It's unfortunate. It's stupid. People are tired of it. I'm sure they're tired of it.
I'm low-key tired of it.
I think it just needs to be dropped at this point. Like, come to a settlement, you know?
But anyways, the Grammys are this weekend, so our next episode will be after that and the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You be so ready to hear our opinions about that.
Yeah, I'm a crash out when it comes to the Grammys, so if I think that the Grammys went poorly, I'm going to crash out on here. So be prepared.
We might film, like,
live reactions, at least to Album of the Year and, like, Song of the Year and Best New Artist and stuff. Like, the like, really main categories that we care about, we might film our reactions to add into that episode. So be prepared for me to be bouncing around the apartment like a string bean.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've been talking for a long time, so we should probably stop and eat some food and read a book.
Because we have to read
7 chapters.
Well, I'm on chapter 10, so now I have to read, like, 6, but...
Okay, yeah. 6, 7, whatever, chapters.
And we were supposed to read it in 2 days, so...
By tomorrow.
Yeah.
So wish us luck. Thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow us both on our socials. That will be linked below. I'm Mad Rose Pie on all socials. And Heaven is Not So Heavenly on TikTok and Instagram. If you want to talk to us, ask for advice, whatever the heck it may be, you can email me at kindaunamusedpod@yahoo.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at MadRosePie. So yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Love y'all. See ya.
Harry Potter's dead. Voldemort sounding ass.